Hey, hello everybody, my name is Ash Daddy, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a more in-depth look at Zeus and a very popular mod called Zeus Enhanced.
Schizo dude that my sister would also deal with at her mental hospital.
We're going to go over all the basic stuff with the vanilla game. That is just the normal tools that Zeus gives you. And then we're going to look at a mod, and if you guys have never done a mod, I'll show you how to do it, but a mod called Zeus Enhanced that you get through the Steam Workshop. It is fantastic. It's going to add just a whole new range of Zeus tools for you to use. We're going to start off with just the basic Zeus. Okay, so what I did was I set up a small little scenario here with the player, and you can see off in the distance there's a couple AI, right? We're going to just go down the list of all the vanilla Zeus stuff, the basic Zeus tools that you have at your disposal. Now, we covered this a lot in my last video. 5 more things that you need for setting up a basic armor mission. However, we're just going to cover them a little bit more in depth in this one, since this is a dedicated Zeus tutorial. Okay, so once you go to modules here, you're going to go to, well, these are basically your Zeus modules. This is your Zeus interface that you're in, right? So you can create units of Op4 or Blue 4. You can access map markers that you can place on the map, and all players will be able to see them if you want. This one keeps a recent breakdown of all the things that you use. So the way that Zeus is made is kind of for one person just to sort of be like dungeon mastering the entire event, right? So you'll have one guy who's just, his sole job is running all the behind the scenes stuff. So he'll be keeping track of the story, objectives that you've completed, and basically just making the world sort of generate as your players move along without taking too much processing power out of the computer or the server. Okay, briefly, we're just going to go over real quick how I set up Zeus again. Remember, we go to our modules, and we set up the Zeus Game Master, okay? So you'll find it here under Systems and Modules. And this is in the Eden editor. And you'll just go here. For your owner, you'll type in your Steam ID. And I'll link the video down below so you can go find how to do this. But it's pretty easy. Once you get your Steam ID, just plug it in there. You'll do all official add-ons, including unofficial ones, or all add-ons, including official ones. And you'll just load it in, and you'll connect this to whoever you want the Game Master to be. But since you linked your Steam ID, you shouldn't have to do that. And then you do an add editable objects, and then you'll connect that to all the objects, all the players that you want to be able to control in Zeus. Okay? Now that we're back in the game, you'll hit Y, and you'll enter the Zeus interface, right? So we're just going to go down the list of all the little modules that you have at your disposal for world building stuff, right? Besides adding units and cars and things like that. So you can add in different sort of like ambiance type things. You can add like butterflies and, you know, goats, poultry, chickens, some seagulls. Give it some nice ambiance, you know, just sort of make the world pop out a little bit more, right? Not too important, but still kind of cool that you can add all these things. And you can delete them by hovering over them and just hitting the delete key on your keyboard. Audio is pretty interesting. You can play in-game music for the players to hear. So a lot of these modules, you're going to see this screen. So you could do sides, you could do groups based on like how you create your sections of players, because it'd be Alpha 1-1, Alpha 1-2, stuff like that. Only that group will hear it, so you can give audio cues and objectives that way, or you could do it by player. And when you have more players in the lobby, this will be a longer list here. And you could just like, you know, do all these musical cues, right? You could also do the same for radio messages. You could play a radio message for the entire group, kind of like Stop the Enemy. For some reason that comes out distorted the first time around, but then it should be good for the second one. And next thing we're going to go over is environment. So you could do post-processing, which just sort of adds like a different like look to your, you know, obviously, you know, it just gives a filter to the game. Skip time is very valuable in a Zeus campaign. So all it allows you to do is, you know, fast forward time. So if you needed to be nighttime all of a sudden, you know, you just hit your players with this and it's nighttime. Which is very useful to have. And the thing about a lot of these Zeus things is they will stay on the screen wherever you place them for the most part. And all you have to do is double click them and you can get a new command out of it, right? So you don't have to keep dropping these down. All you do is, a lot of Zeuses will just like make a bank of them somewhere and they'll just go access them all the time. So so that you don't just have these skip time modules everywhere, right? We had time acceleration, which just makes the day move faster. So if you want a nice, easy nighttime progression, or if you only want the mission to be like, if it's a longer one, you want the daytime to be pretty like eventful, and then the nighttime, once it gets there, you want it to hurry up because a lot of people don't like night ops. You can just speed up the night ops section by like, I don't know, 40 times, and you know it'll go really, really quickly, right? So you can sort of pace it that way. But it's not as jarring as a skiing or as a time skip. It's just a nice acceleration through that process. And then the weather is a really nice module to have. There's a lot of mods behind this where you can have like a bunch of different weather scenarios, but this fits the bill for most things, right? So you got your stormy and rainy. You just go ahead and hit that and run it this way, right? And it'll start raining. Okay, and then you can just double click on it and do like stormy. Hit them with some fog density, you know. And now you get a little bit more ambiance for your scenario here. All right, looks good. This gives us the ability to call in close air support or artillery calls. All you do is click on whichever type you want, and you'll just drop it in, right? So this will do like a rocket barrage in a certain direction. So the red is the kill zone, and that yellow is like the concussion zone, or like damage zone. Like you'll take damage in there, but you might not necessarily die from it. So now that I killed these players, I just want you to know that you could resurrect them. Well, you can't resurrect them if they have the black bubble. That means that they're dead. But what you can do, click on the unit icon, control copy, and paste, and then just get rid of these guys, right? You can do that. But you see how they're all separate, right? They're all separate units. You hold control, right? And then you click, and then you group them together. There it goes. So now this is the group leader, and they move together, right? Okay, so that covers fire support. Flares is just flares, you know. You can just add it. This helps for objectives and stuff like that. So you can just sort of like toss down flares and get it around a like objective rally point at night, and they'll be able to see these. Sometimes they don't work very well. Sometimes they work better at night. Objectives is probably one of the biggest tools that you have in Zeus for storyboarding, okay? So let's say, remember in the very first tutorial that we did HVT mission, right? We had to do a little bit of coding, type some stuff in, make variable names, whatnot. In Zeus, it makes it a little easier to do, right? So let's say this group leader is a really bad guy. We need to take him out, okay? So all we're going to do is go to Objectives in Zeus, go to Neutralize, and we're going to assign it to this guy, okay? The title will be Neutralize %1. %1 will just take that person's group name or unit name. So if he's a Grenadier, it'll be Neutralize Grenadier or Neutralize Rifleman. So you can get rid of that and just put, I don't know, Neutralize HVT or Neutralize the Officer or Agent Smith, whatever you want it to be, right? Waypoint marker, if you do %1 is just going to grab information from that unit and place it there. And the %1 in this location will grab his area and put a little pin marker wherever he walks, okay? If you don't want that, just delete this line. But if you do want it, you know, do that %1 there. And it'll be good to go. So we'll do a %1 so you can see it. And description, this is what your players are going to see. This is like their little like ad hoc brief. You just want to make sure that you put something here, give it a side. So when it's enlarged, that means that Blue 4 will have this mission. You can assign it to multiple if you want, if you have a bunch of competing players. Or you can do it by group. You know, if you want Fire Team 1 to go do this objective and Fire Team 2 to go do this objective, you can brief them individually and they won't see each other's missions. I just usually do it by group though, or by side. And hit it. I get the mission Neutralize HVT. Very cool. Now I can go down there and start shooting at him, and once I kill him, I will complete that mission. Or what you could do is come onto this this unit here, hover over him. Instead of hitting the delete key, hit the end key, which is right next to it, below the home button. You might have to click on him. End. There you go. And that'll kill whatever unit that you press it on, so long as it's not a player, right? And if you do end on vehicles, the vehicle explodes in a fiery catastrophe. So you can just end all these, and if you hit delete on this one, he's gone, right? So that's one part of that. You can do move commands, which is like, hey, player, move here. Very easy. Okay, next we're going to talk about the objective for attacking and defending. So this is like a little King of the Hill style thing. So we'll have it be that we need to attack this bubble. An area name, you can call it whatever you want. We can name it, I don't know, hot dog. I don't know, doesn't matter. So just something different. Seize hot dog, right? So now that we're in this area of control, you see in the top right, the H for hot dog is, it's filling up. And if we put any more characters inside there to contest it, we won't capture the objective, but we did just capture it, right? So that's sort of how you can do like zones of control. The custom objective is basically just like your get out of jail free card for making objectives. You can make it do whatever you want, right? You could say, go play soccer or something. It doesn't really matter. You give it a side, and then you'll have it be created or assigned right away. That's up to you. You can give it a module position if you want, or you can disable it. It'll also give you like the recent ones that you've used for this mission. Waypoint, map marker, you can do description, play ball, I don't know. Doesn't matter, right? Now, one thing that you could do is preload these so that all you have to do is like put down all these objectives for your players and like type everything out, have it all ready at the beginning of the mission, and then just unassign it. Just don't assign it to any side and hit OK. And I'll be walking along. Maybe I've done a couple objectives by now, and Zeus sees that I'm coming up on this soccer field, and they need to trip the next mission. All they'll do is hop into Zeus, double click on it, assign it, run it. There you go. Now I've got the play ball mission, right? So I've got a task for go play soccer, play ball, and I got to go to this soccer field here. All right, pretty easy to not include like the driver in here, but if you want it to be empty, just go into the top left. You'll see where that off-road spawned. Click on the rifleman and then just delete them with the delete key, right? Okay, so we have an empty vehicle here. We want to tell the players to get in. We'll get a get in vehicle module. We'll just click it on there. Like I said, you could preload these, or you could just assign it directly. Get in, and it'll say off-road. It'll grab the unit name from that vehicle. On the waypoint, get into the vehicle is the description. So we should get that, get in off-road. All right, and the only thing we got to do is just hop in the truck, right? And it'll complete that mission. Very, very simple. Very simple. And now I moved on to the next task, which we haven't completed, which is go play soccer. So we just go down here. Let's say that we get to the soccer field. Let me just drive. Okay, and once you get here, it won't do anything because remember, this was that custom animation. You can hit the V key twice to disembark any vehicle quickly. So remember, this was a custom Zeus module. It just says custom objective. It doesn't have a trigger behind it. So the Zeus will have to manually come in and succeed or fail it or cancel it. So if we hit succeed, task completed. If things do change in the mission, you can always keep this objective around and succeed it. Or maybe you didn't play soccer well enough and they want you to try again, or something like that. Or maybe it's raining outside, they don't want you to play soccer at all. You can end the objective too. So it gives you a wide range of just like being in complete charge of what's going on in the scenario, and it's just a fantastic tool. So another really good feature about putting all these objectives down too is if you go to the edit mode and you go to game logic, you can see all your listed objectives right there. So if you go to objectives, you put down a move objective and whatever the hell you want it to be, you'll see it adds over here, and you can control them all on this panel, which makes just control of the scenario super, super easy, right? So if you have a move objective, you have a ghost play soccer objective, you got a control sector objective where, you know, blue 4 needs to seize this objective. You have all these things over here, right? And you can control them like this. You can just double click on them and say, okay, they played soccer, succeed, awesome. Well done, boys. And then you move on, right? I've never used race before, but I'm sure you could figure that out for yourself. Protect, you know, this is just basically the same idea. When the object or module is neutralize. So if you have to protect a human, right? Let's say you have to protect a person. Maybe like an ambassador or something like that, right? You do protect and put it on him. Side, this, protect the target, okay? You gotta protect him. Now, if he gets smoked, you should fail. As simple as that, guys. Pretty self-explanatory, but that's mostly objectives for, like, telling your story and progressing your players through the story. Okay, the next thing we're going to move on to is the respawn stuff for Zeus. Now, you'll have to go and actually set up the respawn in Zeus the Eden editor. So you have to make it so that respawn's available, that you start off with some tickets and stuff like that. But once you're in and you have respawn set up, you could use the respawn tab to set up new respawn points. Like say this depot here. You want this to be a insertion point for respawn, right? Or for up for over here, right? And then you could do stuff like tickets. You can change out the respawn tickets for, say they take an objective, you want to give them 200 respawn tickets or whatever, right? So set it to this, and there you go. Give them 200 tickets, right? And this, I think this will affect the global ticket count. So if you have like 150 set up earlier, you set it to 200, it'll take that 150, bring it up to 200. Okay. And then you can also do a bunch of other little cool things like the scenario name, right? So I did this once in a mission where, like, different chapters of the story, like you'd get to, say, you know, here, and kind of like in Fallout where you'd see like a new like area appear, you could set this to, you know, once you get to the place where you want them to play soccer, you can hit them with this, and it'll be like a new chapter, and it'll appear in the bottom right. See, it appears on the screen, but behind my face. Sorry, it appears like right where my face is on this camera. Sorry about that. And then you can also do different things like, you know, running like a little briefing, like go play soccer. I'm really milking this one. Play soccer in the rain. And then you set it to your group, blah, blah, blah. It's even got one that I put a while ago when I was like practicing the tutorial. There's one called Yo. And I forgot what it says, so I'm not going to put it. So, but anyways, there you go. Go play soccer. And it should give you a description when you go and check your, not tasks, but briefing. You go to briefing, and it'll have all that there, right? Play soccer in the rain. And then it's still, like, you got your new respawn point that we just put down. We've got our, you know, one of our objectives over here. We've got this move objective from a while ago. You know, we're doing pretty good. The task for playing soccer, we completed that one. We lost our ambassador, you know. So everything's being tracked as you do it through Zeus on the player side as well. Okay, other little things here. We've got the countdown. So you could set a death clock on things. So you could be telling them, okay, you have 1 minute to defend this place. And it'll complete if you win it. So, like, defend the field for 1 minute. Something like that, right? And then you set it. And, you know, at the end of that 1 minute, it will, it'll end. And you can even, like, drag this down further if you are impatient, right? So let's go to, like, let's give it a couple seconds here. Whoops, hold on. There you go. And it should end. There you go. It ran out of time, so it ended. We've basically covered everything. This is a fresh map. Just a couple little caveats here. We've got end scenario. So instead of countdown, you could just absolutely full stop the mission whenever you want. So with this end scenario, you do mission complete, mission failed. Sides with the best score wins. You could have, you know, player versus player type things going on and give it a briefing and been like, hey, we ended because, you know, you guys rule or something like that. And then hit OK. It'll say that in the end briefing and it'll kill the scenario. Smoke, this just adds little, you know, smoke things to the you know, this is good for rally points or objectives. Training is kind of, this one's actually super important. If you see your players are struggling and you don't have any way to communicate with them and you don't want to like completely break immersion, you can throw down a hint and be like, okay, give it to the blue 4. This will go global if you don't like deselect these. You could totally keep it though. The field is marked with red smoke, right? You could do something like that. And then they also have I think they have pre-generated ones, maybe? I don't know. We'll check those out in a second. But yeah, you do this and it'll pop up in the top right. See? The field is marked with red smoke. Oh, got it. That's the soccer field right there, right? Last thing we need to talk about is Arsenal, remote control, and lightning bolt. So lightning bolt is pretty obvious. I mean, you can literally rods from God here and just zap. Gets me every time. You can zap people out of existence, right? Arsenal, I believe you need to add this to... Nope, you can go into someone's arsenal, kind of like how we did last time, right? My last video. And you can just, you know, mess with their gear here directly. Okay. And then remote control, which allows you to grab control of an AI and roleplay as them. All the way down to looking at their inventories. You can even mess with their stuff. You could drop stuff on the ground. You know, you could be a completely different character. Alright guys, for the most part, that covers the lion's share of what the base Zeus has for you. So now what we're going to get into is the more advanced stage of Zeus. And this is going to require mods. If you don't know how to set up mods, it's fairly easy. I'm going to go through it real quick. And we'll get the Zeus Enhanced mod going for you guys. Okay, so setting up mods is fairly streamlined on the workshop for Steam. So what you're going to do is go to Steam. You can click on Community at the top left, and go to Workshop. And then you'll be greeted with this page here. All you have to do is type in this mod here. I'm going to link them down below. It'll be CBA_A3, and you'll see this mod right here. Go ahead and hit the check mark next to it, and it'll automatically start downloading to Steam, okay? And then the next one you're going to look up is Zeus Enhanced. Okay, it'll be the first one that you see here. You can sort these by relevance or most popular. Probably relevance would be your best bet, but it's going to be this one here. But I'm also going to post the authors for these mods. So just go ahead, hit the check mark there. Once it says check, that means that you're subscribed, and it'll automatically download these and load them into your Arma launcher. Okay. Once you launch Arma, you're probably greeted with this screen. I'm sure that most of you know how to do mods. I'm sure there's a couple out there who maybe are very new to the game and they want to get into Zeusing, but they don't know how to do mods. So this is why I'm, you know, just sort of rocking and rolling through this. So you're going to hit the mods tab on the left, and you'll see something. These are all my mods. I have a million. You'll see this loaded mods section, right? So it'll be empty. You're going to go down below, and you're just going to look for the two mods that you put. So I put Zeus Enhanced. I'm going to find Zeus Enhanced right here, check mark, and that'll load it in. Now it's saying that I need another mod to load with Zeus Enhanced or it won't work, so it's a dependency. So CBA-A3 is a dependency on Zeus Enhanced. So we're going to go ahead and load selected mods, and that just makes sure that both of them get check marked in. So I'm going to save this over here, save as. We'll just do Zeus, and we'll save it. Now I could just go here and click that, right? Say like my modern kit. It'll load all these mods, so I don't have to like keep hand cramming them. And I can go back down to Zeus, and there we go. So we got two loaded mods, hit play, just like normal. While this is loading in, I wanted to talk about the importance of mods. So the modding community for Arma 3 is massive and extremely, extremely talented. So in one of my future videos, I'm going to be covering all the mods that I find to be pretty crucial. I could bust them down to a good amount. And it allows you to do so many different things, right? Mods just take it that extra bit further. You get new weapons, new skins, new scenarios, new maps. I mean, it just a lot of the capabilities are just further enhanced and pushed even, you know, to its limits with these mods. And in future video, I hope to go over some of my favorite mods and stuff that, you know, you can use to amplify the gameplay of Arma. Okay, if you're still here, welcome. This is going to be the modded portion of the tutorial. So if you don't want to rock with mods, that's totally understandable, and I totally understand why you wouldn't want to. But if you are sticking around, I just want to showcase a lot of the new stuff that Zeus Enhanced will bring to the table, and maybe it'll push you towards looking at mods. Setup is very clean and easy. All I'm going to do is place down my Zeus module that I've been using, and remember we're going to drag this off to the side so we don't accidentally delete it. We do not need to set up the editable objects, though. We can actually do that in real time now with Zeus Enhanced. You can do it if you want to, but you really don't need to. You notice right away that there's no markers, and there's no little like red bubbles, blue bubbles underneath our characters here. So one of the new features of Zeus Enhanced right away is right-clicking to do actions. So you can right-click, editable objects is right here, and you can add into a radius of 10 meters around where you right-clicked, and you can add those characters into your control, right? So these guys I can't do anything with. I can't, you know, I can't move them around, can't order them around. I can't even like do functions to them, like kill them and stuff like that. I would need to right-click, editable object, and add them in. See, 10 meters wasn't big enough to add this guy in, so go ahead and do it again, okay? Now I can move these guys around, right? First up on the chopping block, we got AI animation. We can set these guys to do certain animations, which is really, really nifty for world building, right? So you can have this guy do sitting on the floor, right? And you can get this guy over here to do some, I don't know, listening to the radio, right? Now this bubble here, combat ready, yes and no, means that they'll break animation when it's time to fight, or they'll stay there indefinitely as like a statuette. So if I got into a firefight with these guys, you'll see that he won't move, but these two are combat ready and they will move and engage, right? Ambient flybys, you can go ahead and click these down, and well, it's fascinating. So you do a height of a certain distance off the ground, distance that they'll start off at, speed, and the amount of them, and they'll do a flyby over you. So we'll make them go nice and fast, and they're going to do a flyby over this little location right here. Okay, so right on cue, there they are. There's those helicopters flying over. Okay, for chatter, you can basically get characters, you know, crossroads to, you know, do messages like in the text channel in the bottom left. You can set that up so that you can get, you know, AI to also do these sorts of things. You can do global channel, I think. So you can have messages from specific characters as you name them. So you can do a little bit of story building with that, I guess. Convoy parameters. If you get a bunch of cars down, right, we'll do like off-road. We'll do off-road. If you do convoy parameters, basically if you give these guys a route to do, and you hit them with some convoy parameters, you can set, you know, how far away they are, the speed limit that they'll do, they'll stay on the road and stuff like that, right? So you can separate them nice and neat. Just give them like a good amount of spacing, really tight spacing, stuff like that, and just control the convoy. The next one here is going to be crew to gunner, which basically like sets all your guys. One of them will try and take over the turret if there is one on the whatever vehicle they're in. Fly height you assign to a plane or a helicopter as they're going, and they'll try and maintain that height. Garrisoning a group, so you can like take these guys and garrison them. They'll search within a radius of 100. They'll fill every even filing building by building, random, fill from top down, so like they'll go top floor, bottom floor, and then hit yes, and they will find buildings to basically set themselves up in. See? So these guys are now garrisoned in these buildings, right? Okay, sometimes you could take the same groups, all right? Make sure that they're actually active. If you just garrisoned them, sometimes they don't want to move. But afterwards, you can take them and give them a patrol area like this. You can give them a certain distance that they want to patrol and hit them on probably like relaxed or cautious. And then you'll see that these waypoints start generating. So you've got, they'll move here, 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 they'll recycle, they'll move over here, and it'll just generate a random patrol within that radius that you gave them. Same thing with this search building parameter. So you give them this, and then you want them to search this building, just click over there. and they'll go do a room clearing operation on that building. So that's just a pretty cool way to control these troops without having to physically do them, see? And they're moving in a pretty good formation, and they'll go and search this building. And they're doing a pretty good job stacking up on these doors and stuff like that. They're moving in pairs. It's a pretty neat way to do it. And it works really well, especially on the vanilla buildings. The sit on chair option is pretty it's pretty basic. If there's a chair nearby, they'll sit in it, or you can give them a chair to sit in, right? Pretty cute. Suicide bomber is so basically give it to a person. Activation side, so this means once this radius, you see this little radius that they got here, once they get certain radius within this side that you assign, they'll explode, being either small, medium, large. Dead man switch, meaning if you shoot them, it'll activate. And autoseek, will set autoseek to yes, and have them, you know, basically they'll start looking for someone to run towards, right? I think if you move him though, it might get rid of the bomb. He's already one. Okay. No, there he goes. So if he gets close enough to me, he'll explode. So if I move over here, boom. There you go. Oh yeah, quick little thing while I restarted a new one. So how you right click to add in, you can also remove. So if you don't want control of someone, say you're doing a lot of like different things and you don't want to accidentally delete some units, you can remove them just in the same way that you added them. So now I can't do anything with them, right? Add and remove. Okay, moving on to the next thing here. I mean, you can already tell how much more gets added by this, you know, Zeus Enhanced. You can ungarrison group, which is just the opposite of garrisoning them. Suppressive fire you can give to a team, and they'll perform suppressive fire drills, which basically just means they'll shoot ridiculously constantly and just like in a good sustained rate. Animals, same as Zeus. Audio's the same. Buildings, you can configure doors now. So like if you do it like this and click on this building, it'll automatically select the closest building. So if I put it like here, it'll pick this one that thought it was closer. So now you can like open and close doors with this icon. So you can lock it, you can open it, you can close it, which is pretty nifty. You can lock certain doors if you don't want people going in there and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a really good feature to have. Same idea as the doors is damaging buildings. So if you want this thing to be destroyed, but you didn't know that you wanted to destroy it, so you didn't do it in the Eden editor, but your people are already here and playing, you can just add this on there and go through the different levels of destruction. Some buildings have stages of destruction. Some have either fully, you know, erect or fully destroyed, and you could just give it to this. Hell, you can even give it like a good radius. You could do either one building at a time or an entire radius of buildings. Destruction effects, sure. There you go. And it'll go through the whole death sequence for this building. In very much the same way, toggling lamps, you could just do a radius of turning on these lamps. So like at night, you know how some lamps will turn on? You can toggle these on and off, right? So this one, that one will turn on and stuff like that. Chemlights is this. Chemlights I think might be new, but it's basically the same thing as the flares. These development tools are pretty advanced. There are better tutorials that probably go into this sort of thing. I wouldn't touch development tools if you're very new, but this allows you to save configurations. So if I wanted to export a mission SQF, something like that, I could do that, right? And it'll pull up a line of code. But if you don't know what you're doing, I wouldn't mess with it, guys. Okay, we're moving on to effects. So you can do custom fire effects, which is pretty cool. Say you want it on this building here. You can affect the fire size, the effect size, the particle speed, and the particle size, right? And you can get a little fire going. And you can make this thing, you know, just absolutely massive. You just affect these, mess around with it. So you could do like multiple instances of fire. The particle size will be the actual flames, right? So you could just like make it a hellfire if you wanted. Obviously you'll have to mess around with that, find which one works for your scenario, but you could do that. And then you can also add in smoke pillar right below custom fire and get that going. There's different types. You could do like dark smoke, mixed smoke, vehicle fire smoke, right? And there you go. Now you get some effects going. There you go. Looking good. That fire looks so bad. Let me bring that down to size there, right? Okay, that's a lot more realistic looking. And then you can always affect these by double clicking on them. Well, some of them you can. Some of them you cannot. Any of them that you input values into, for the most part, you can change. All right, and there you go. IR grenades, you can throw those down, obviously, at night. Light source. These light sources basically make these, you know, kind of god rays appear out of nowhere. So you can add a light source, maybe in a building or something like that. So at night, your players can see. Or maybe, like, these aren't doing a good enough job, you just add a light source. And then this IR light, if you throw this IR light out there, you could see that it's actually doing its little blips at night under infrared. So you can see it with NVGs. Okay. I should mention, if you hit N while you're in Zeus, you will get these different filters. So you go NVGs and you got white hot, right? So you can, even in Zeus, if it's a nighttime op, you can keep track of you guys. In Zeus Enhanced, you have changing the weather, but it gives you a broader range of options for changing the weather. So you could do overcast, you could force changes, you could set it to no, you can like hit them with the rain and the lightning, and you can basically just sort of make it a lot more customized, right? And if you don't force the change, besides the fog, it'll gradually turn into rain, right? And then it's a lot more atmospheric that way. You could set the date if you really want to get technical with your, stuff. You could set an earthquake. You could do that sort of things. And it'll destroy buildings if you really want it to. But while you're on the ground, I mean, it's pretty intense. You can obviously simulate all sorts of things with that if you wanted to. What else do we have under environment? Hide terrain objects. This one's pretty interesting too. So if it's an object that's hardwired to the map, you can get rid of it just like this. You can hide it. You can give it a good radius of just this box. Buildings, walls, fences, it'll look for any of these things and it will hide them, right? And then for the same idea, if you know there's something there that you want to be there, you can show everything in that wider region and it'll undo the deletion of that item. Zeus Enhanced also kept the original weather feature, so if you don't want to do all the complicated stuff, you could just use the base, the base weather system as well. Sometimes I have trouble with the advanced one, so sometimes it's just a little easier to just hit them with the, the basic one. Under equipment, you have add and detach effect. To add it would be the first instance of putting it on a target. So you do selected target or selected unit, and you could do, say, this one right here. And it will give them this effect that they have a smoke on them. You can also do this with the IR strobes and, anything under this menu. So IR strobes, Chemlights, basically things that you can attach to your body. And then you can also detach it the same way. Just click on them, go to none. There you go, right? And that'll get rid of that smoke. Origin point. You can do the same thing with their flashlights. They don't need flashlights to actually use it. We'll enable it, we'll add it to the gear, and we'll remove NGVGs. There you go. And at night, they'll turn on their flashlights, okay? With fire support, they added a couple extra things. They had create a target. Target name, you can give it one, and then you can attach a laser to it as well. And then I think you can use that for on-call missions. They added the atomic bomb because of course they did. And we'll go ahead and detonate that bad boy. It gives it the earthquake effect, and it's pretty epic. You can also have it destroy buildings and stuff like that in that radius. This is pretty cool. I would suggest not overusing it though, because the shock and awe wears off after you do it too many times to your players, right? But it does have a pretty good effect, and it doesn't do any radiation damage or anything like that. Okay, under add full arsenal, that's for an object. So you can like give an object a full arsenal. So if you go to like a crate, something like that. Okay, maybe there isn't a crate. Maybe a box. like this. We can go back and give it the full arsenal. Add a full arsenal. There we go. So if we go up to it, it's an arsenal box now, see? And you can access it thusly, right? You can also do the same thing, but you can remove that arsenal from it. Oh yeah, I also did a movement there that I haven't introduced yet, but that's teleporting Zeus. So just like you were able to right-click and do edit objects, there's a super nice feature there called teleport Zeus. So you can just right-click and then teleport there, right? And that is very, very helpful when trying to monitor a game. Miscellaneous, all these things. You can heal a side. You can group a side. You could change these guys to blue 4 if you wanted. And back to red 4. You can create little intel packs, right? So this will appear as a file, and you could share it with an entire side, one group. You could share it with one person. Delete on completion, pick up intel. Intel. Intel title will be paperwork. And intel text, I don't know, get out of the rain. Something like that, okay? We'll go up to it, and it'll say pick up intel. You'll hold F on it, and it says intel found. You can go to your stuff here, and it will be under intel. It says paperwork, get out of the rain. So you can do a whole lot of interesting stuff with that. And, you know, just like, you can get rid of it if you want. Or you can have it delete on completion. Creating area markers, you could do this on your maps, probably the easiest way to see it. So you could do an area marker like Pyrgos here. And you can change it however you want. Just like in Eden Editor, you do like this. You know, set it to this. You can keep editing it how you want it. So this will be like, if you wanted to give them a mission, been like, okay, Pyrgos just got destroyed by an atomic bomb. You know, like we just saw. So this is all radiation pocket, stay out of Pyrgos. Stuff like that. You can just sort of write a narrative based on that, and all the group sides will see this. From what I know, nothing new got added to objectives that wasn't already in the base game. So objectives for Zeus Enhanced hasn't changed. Okay, the next section is called objects. I haven't used all of these, but I think we can figure it out. Attach flag. Attaches a flag to an object, so we can give it the you know, the United States flag if we wish, and it'll just sort of hang out. It doesn't look the best, but this Prowler is also not your average vehicle shape, so it probably looks better with most vehicles, but there you go. You can create an IED, say like this box, you can create an IED on it. Activation side works just like the bomber, so activation radius, small. Is jammable? Yes, you know, you can do that sort of thing. And if you get too close to it, here we'll make a person go close to it, and it should detonate. There you go. Alright, going down the list, we got create a minefield, which, you know, pretty on the nose. You do 100 by 100 minefield. You do what type of mines you want. If you want to, like, anti-personnel, anti-tank, mine density, you know, how many units between each individual mine. Random placement, or you could do like sort of like method to the madness type thing, and you place them down, right? So it's a little close to me there. And then you can have this guy. You can make him invincible, right below it, right? Give it to him, invincible, yes. And then you can literally put him on top of a mine, and it won't kill him. See? You can also detonate these mines on command if you wish. So you don't need someone to stand next to it to detonate it. You could just hit the end button. And remember, the end button kills units. But in the world of a mine, doing this explodes them, right? So you can hit end on all these. Or if you don't want them there anymore, you can delete them. Equipping a unit with an ECM, I believe, is used for IEDs. So if you go and create an IED on this truck, you can have it is jammable, yes, okay? And we could do equip with ECM. Must be a vehicle, so I think you can create a second vehicle that has an ECM jammer on it.
This was used.
And then you can ride it past, okay? So you can teleport into vehicles too. And see, it doesn't explode because we have an ECM jammer on it. But once I got out, I guess it doesn't jam anymore. So you can attach certain objects to each other with this module here. So you can attach this chair to this box. Once it says object attached, you can move this chair, but it won't, since this is dependent now on the box's location. So you can move this, and there you go. So now that it has a reference point, you can scale the object like this. You can scale it up by tenfold if you wish. Just make a giant chair. You can change the object's gravity and basically how it plays in the world by just disabling the simulation on it. So if you just take this module, click at these different objects, you can now disable the physics of this object. So I just toggle the simulation on it, which means it has physics and gravity. If you toggle it off, you should be able to drag these wherever you want and position them wherever you wish on the world. So, all right, like that. One more thing in the object section is you can toggle on and off the visibility of these objects. So if you don't want your players to see it right away, you can toggle it off. And that object marker will still be there. You could always just toggle it back on. So on-off switch. Okay, that wraps up the object section, guys. So all we have left is players and just a couple more things. Okay, one of the cool things that players gives you, the Zeus players option, is the ability to create a teleporter. So we're going to use the same objects here. We got a chair, we got a box. We'll put the box way down the street. We'll have a chair here, right? So we can create a teleporter like this. And we'll call this one chair, okay? We'll get rid of these two. And then we'll call this one, do create teleporter. We'll create this one, we'll call it box. So maybe you want to have like a big staging area that has like all your equipment and stuff, but you don't want them to have to like ride all the way to the objective or like the staging area or like the wherever you want them to launch from, right? So you have like a staging area with all the gear, and then you have a place where they want to like basically start their mission. And you can have them like one on a ship, like way out in the middle of nowhere, but you don't want them to have to walk. You could make a teleporter. So I have a teleporter between this chair and this box. So if I walk up to this chair, I can teleport and it'll give me a list of options, kind of like a respawn system. And then you just hit OK, and then there you are. You teleported from there to the box. It's pretty simple. And kind of like how you can right click and hit Zeus and teleport yourself, you could do that to other people instantaneously. So you could do teleport players with this cogwheel. When you have more players, obviously when you click on it, you'll have more selections here. You could do it by players, you could do entire groups of people, or entire sides. You could do the entire side of people, right? For me, I'll just teleport myself, and there I go. Very simple. Very important when it comes to controlling entire groups of people for missions, too. Okay, this next set of options is about reinforcements, and this is for AI characters. So first thing you want to do is create an LZ. This is going to be the very first point that they're going to go to. It'll all make sense in a second. And we're going to create a rally point. So let's just think of a scenario here. So we're going to have a car full of people come in from, say, over here somewhere. They're going to get to the LZ, and then they're going to disembark and then move to the first rally point, which is going to be like way down the street here. We'll call this rally point Charlie, okay? When we spawn reinforcements, these are the only two things we need. We need an LZ, which is basically the starting, like the first mission for them, and then the this is a staging area. The first mission will be that rally point. So way over here, we'll you want to spawn it out of view because it will just spawn instantaneously. But what you do is you just go through. You could pick whatever faction of units you want. Let's say NATO, APC. We'll do a car. We'll do, maybe we'll do this one instead. The Prowler's pretty fast. And then we can select infantry to populate the car. And this is going to be our fire team that we're actually controlling. We'll do infantry of just a fire team, right? And double click on them and it'll populate over here. And then we're going to say that the vehicle is going to go to the LZ. We're going to go to LZ Charlie, which is that first LZ, the flag, right? We can have it stay there, the vehicle. It can either stay there or it can turn around and leave and go back to where we spawned it and then despawn. That's probably a good option. Insert method by land, since this is a car, right? If you did a helicopter, you could pick a helicopter up here if you wanted. You can either do a paradrop, which doesn't really make sense for a helicopter. And you can also do a landing insertion if you wanted. Fly height obviously is only for those aircraft. unit rally point. You could set that to the RP Charlie. I know we named them the same thing, but one's the LZ, one's the rally point, but they're both named Charlie. You could change those when you put those down. Unit behavior, we'll just keep it on default, and we'll hit go. It's going to populate a prowler with all these units. It'll go to the flag, all the units will disembark, and then they will go to the first mission. So, like I said, it is pretty jarring. It just spawns, so you got to be careful with it. Cars they're pathing. Sometimes they want to take like streets and stuff like that instead of trying to go over like rough terrain. So the prowler gets to this rally or the landing zone. It'll get there. You can actually see where it's going to like disembark these units to. So you already see the path for the car. It's going to go here, and then it's going to go all the way back, and it'll despawn once it gets there. These units, however, are now on a mission to go and fight whatever is at that rally point. Or maybe they'll just hang out, right? But that's their mission until told otherwise. You can obviously click on them, and you can give them a different mission completely. But that path was already set up for them to go there, so you don't even have to worry about it, right? So you can just keep funneling, you just keep funneling reinforcements into it of the same one if you wanted, right? You just keep giving reinforcements to that area. Yeah, it's just a quick and easy way to spawn AI and give them a path, right? So that's basically all that the reinforcements tab for Zeus gives you. From here, basically everything else, this is the same, besides the side relation, I believe. And side relations just means you can make, the op 4 and the blue 4, you can make them friends with the handshake. You can make them hostile if you wanted. You can even call over the radio. For some reason, the first time it's all laggy, but you could say that they're friendly, or you could say that they're enemies, right? See? There you go. Smoke shells are kind of the same thing as these smoke grenades, but I think that these are bigger plumes. They are not the same thing. So that's the same thing. Spawning USS Freedom and Liberty, I wouldn't mess with this too much, but basically, it's kind of broken from what I've found. It doesn't really work. But those are ships. See, the training and bootcamp, that's all the same. And Zeus adds a couple extra things. So it adds global hints. So, this will go to everybody, regardless of what side you're on. You could do like the regular hint, which gives you a side option, or you can do global hint, which is everybody on the map, right? Like maybe server shutting down soon or something like that. Promoting to Zeus is a very interesting idea. So maybe you wanted to spread load to another person to help you Zeus. You would have to find their little character and then click on them. It says unit must be a player. So I would need more players in here, but I could promote them to Zeus. And now we would both have shared ability to control everything through Zeus. It makes them a Zeus as well. Update editable objects. So I could do this here. Kind of like right-clicking and doing the update editable object. But I could do add all objects. I could curate them. Range all mission objects. I could do the entire map, or I could do just a really stupidly large area and gain control of everything that's editable in that area, right? Remote control is the same. Hide Zeus, you could do the same thing, so I can hide myself. Zeus is now visible. Hide Zeus, yes. So I can hide myself and still be a part of the action. So I can just sort of like breathe down people's neck without them even knowing that I'm there, right? Well, guys, that's really the end of the tutorial here. We went over the basic stuff on Zeus. We went over the really enhanced, features of Zeus Enhanced. I showed you how to go through like everything vanilla and then all the new assets that you guys have at your disposal with Zeus Enhanced. And I really hope that you guys are able to take this and do something cool with it, because it gives you this sort of like a dungeon master feel to Arma. If you guys really liked the video, I really appreciate all the support you guys give me with all the subscriptions and stuff like that. We're almost at 100, which is really, I never thought I'd get that many, because these are just tutorial videos, but I'm glad that you guys are liking them. Down in the comments, I really appreciate all the kind words that you guys have given me and all the suggestions for future videos, and I hope that I can make those happen. The next one that I want to do is probably going to be mods. Thank you so much for supporting the video. If you guys want to check out my Discord, we might have answers that you're looking for. I'll post that somewhere up here or down there. I also stream on Twitch fairly regularly if you want to come check me out. Sometimes on Saturdays we're doing Arma stuff. And if you want to come by, say hi, tell me you're from YouTube. I'd really love to see you guys supporting all your stuff out there about, you know, maybe how these videos have helped you and stuff like that. My name's Ash Daddy Actual. Thank you so much for watching all these videos. I really hope that you took something away from it. And until next time, I'll see you guys then, all right? You take it easy.
Oh, ain't you glad you're single? Jingle jangle. And that song ain't so very far.